Musk, the richest man in the world and owner of the social media platform X, had been a loyal ally to Nigel Farage and was reportedly considering a donation worth close to £80 million to Farage's Reform Party. But yesterday he turned on Farage, presumably for their opposing views over Tommy Robinson. Musk has championed the jailed far-right activist amid criticism of the government's response to grooming gangs. Let's just have a look at how this all went wrong, because if you go back a very short time, it was all looking so peaceful between them, between the right in America and the right in Britain, let's say. Everything in the garden was lovely. And we were beginning to be able to draw these connections, if you like, this family tree of the right. So we had Trump coming back into office. We then had his bestie in America, Musk, alongside Farage. And they were all interlinked. And then suddenly, it all fell apart. And the question is, how and why and how suddenly? Why did it fall apart like that? What's going on? Let's look back, okay? Let's look back at this relationship, and it starts with this one. This is 2016. This is Farage. It was a great honor to spend time with real Donald Trump. He was relaxed and full of good ideas. This is before he became president the first time. I'm confident he will be a good president. Significance here. No, Trump, an unknown quantity in many ways as a politician. Farage was right in on day one inside Trump Tower. Then Musk buys Twitter. He allows Trump to be reinstated on the platform. And this is the tweet announcing it. The people have spoken. Trump will be reinstated. Vox Populi, Vox Dei. The voice of the people is the voice of God. And he took a poll and Trump was back. So then you have Trump connected to Farage, Trump connected to Musk. You know this is going to happen. Farage connects to Musk as well. And Farage says Britain needs reform. And here's the thing, Musk says absolutely. All right? And Musk then, by the way, separately starts this just banging on about how much he hates the Labour Party. It all then starts to fall apart on Thursday. Musk tweets this: free Tommy Robinson. Now, Robinson is serving an 18-month jail sentence for contempt of court after he admitted repeating false allegations of abuse against a Syrian refugee. In response to Musk's tweet, Farage told Christopher Hope on GB News he disagreed with his friend over Robinson.
He sees Robinson as one of these people that fought against the grooming gangs. But of course, the truth is Tommy Robinson's in prison, not for that, but for contempt of court for the third occasion. But I mean, equally, there are people in Britain who think that Robinson is a political prisoner. That's the narrative that he's pushed out. That's how he earns his living, but it isn't quite true.
Would you accept Robinson as a member of your party? You quit UKIP over the association with him last time.
No. We are a political party aiming to win the next general election. He's not what we need.
So that's so interesting, is that that's the limit. That's where Farage will not go into any sort of politics with Tommy Robinson. And that seems to be what's annoyed Elon Musk, who says the Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it takes. So that's the weekend. In response, Farage says, well, this is a surprise. He's tried to take it in a sporting manner. Elon is a remarkable individual, but on this, I am afraid I disagree. My view remains Tommy Robinson is not right for reform, and I never sell out my principles. And you may well find in the long term that stance benefits Farage, because Lynn May, if Farage embraced Tommy Robinson, he would have a whole lot of explaining to do in this country, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course. And I consider myself, as you know, a conservative, and many people are looking for a new conservative space party. And one of the conservative ideals is law and order. One of the issues people have with migrants coming on the boats is they are illegal. Tommy Robinson is a representation of what illegal is. He is a repeat offender, repeat criminal. And this whole idea that he's some sort of political prisoner is absurd. He admitted to contempt of court, and that's why he's in prison. And I think in the short term, it may seem, in the echo chamber of being online, it may affect reform, simply because, unfortunately, reform has attracted some individuals that would like to align themselves with the far right, and they like Tommy Robinson. But if he is to win a general election with reform, Nigel Farage, he needs to definitely distance himself. I'm glad he said he sticks to his principles. And if he was to align himself with what Elon is saying about Tommy Robinson, he would then look like all of the rest, willing to take money and sell out his principles for money.
Interesting. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's like the worst written soap opera I've ever seen. I mean, these are grown men playing this out on social media. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I think if Farage had any sort of I think he'd be embarrassed if he, if he had any self-awareness, truth be told. But
Because Farage may come out of this quite well, though, might he not?
Well, yeah, absolutely. The wider issue is that Elon Musk interfering in our politics, getting involved in our country, in on our current affairs. Completely ungoverned, unsanctioned, he can basically say and do what he pleases.
Are you on X, by the way? Are you on Twitter?
Am I on? No.
You are still, right?
I
I can tell you something really interesting about Twitter, which is that every time I turn mine on, there's a message from Elon Musk. So I see probably 10 messages from Musk every day.
He's done that on purpose.
And I think if every single Twitter user in the world gets that, unless they block Musk, and I think if you block Musk, you probably have your account squashed a bit. That's quite a big power base. Now, the other thing that started happening is, as of this weekend, every time I turned Twitter on, I saw a message from Alex Jones. Now, he's the sort of truth guy in the States who was very famous for saying the Sandy Hook shootings in that school of all those children didn't happen, and they were all so-called crisis actors who were paid, and he had to pay a massive libel settlement. So he's being pumped by Musk as well. So maybe, I'm thinking, Lynn, maybe Farage should stay away from Musk.
Yeah, I personally think, and this is obviously speculation, this is Elon Musk's playground. This is a huge political, social experiment for him. Initially, some of the things he was saying, I could get on board with. I think Britain, both parties should have done more with regards to the grooming gangs. But then he started, spouting off things that didn't even make sense. He's trying to activate the king. He's continually tweeting.
Activate the king, what?
Okay, so his tweets are the king should dissolve parliament instantly.
Oh, I see. There's our king, right? The actual king.
King Charles. Oh, King Charles, you should, your subjects await you. Please dissolve. Get rid of Keir Starmer. If he had any knowledge of how our politics and our system works, in order for the monarch to dissolve Parliament, it has to come from the Prime Minister. It came from the Bill of Rights.
Well, he said Britain needs an election now. But it's fun in a way, but it's also something weird going on.
There's no precedent for this. This sort of thing's never happened before. We've never had someone as rich and powerful as this before with such a voice.
Well, with Rupert Murdoch we had, but this is the equivalent of Rupert Murdoch buying all those newspapers in the 70s and just publishing stories about himself.
And with no balance, with zero balance.
No balance, no accountability, nothing.
And he's now attacking, he's allowing the narrative to be the whole of the Muslim population. Any issues that happen, it's all of Muslims.
Also, Jess Phillips may have made mistakes as a Labour minister, but if Musk starts saying she's an apologist for rapists, she lives probably in a normal house somewhere. She needs to be worried about her security. We've already had MPs murdered. We need to worry about that. Musk's tweet, by the way, about Farage came just hours after Farage was interviewed by the BBC's Laura Koonsberg. And in this, he defended Musk's attacks on Labour for ruling out a national inquiry into grooming gangs and insisted their differences over Tommy Robinson wouldn't force them apart.
So you think it's acceptable for somebody to say that the British Prime Minister was complicit in the rape of the country?
I believe in free speech, even if what people say is offensive. If you find it offensive, if most people find it offensive, would I rather live in a world where we're free to cause offence than a world in which free speech and debate gets shut down? I know which of those two I prefer.
But would you tell Elon Musk that he is wrong? So I know you've distanced yourself from his comments about Tommy Robinson.
Do you know what? Real friends, when they meet face to face, have conversations, and they agree to agree, and sometimes they agree to disagree. I think I've made it perfectly clear that I don't agree with everything he stands for. but I do believe in free speech. I think he's a hero.
Let's ask Nick in Devon what you think of what's going on, because they've broken up, basically, haven't they? It is an old-fashioned school-time breakup, Nick.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jeremy. And hello to you and the panel. Good
Hi.
morning. Just to sort of, I mean, really, when you sort of actually sort of put an analysis on the whole thing, it just shows you what a sort of tightrope that, in fact, reform in particular, the party reform and its leader is actually walking at the moment. I mean, the thing is, I liken it almost to the demise of Jeremy Corbyn in some way on the other end of the political spectrum, if you like. The thing is that if you're an extremist within the parliamentary system, you're walking a tightrope, and it's quite easily to put your foot on the other side, and very tempting to, because, of course, a lot of the people that support you will probably be on that side anyway.
You called him an extremist, that's Farage, but surely what he's done here is he said, I will not go into any kind of alliance with Tommy Robinson because Tommy Robinson is himself an extremist. So he's actually made himself look more moderate. And he, by the way, he may have lost 80 million quid for saying it.
Yeah, but he's caught in Musk, isn't he? Who basically is a political renegade. I know he's the richest man in the world or whatever, but that's really what he is. And I mean, and Musk is quite a dangerous person as far as not only this country is concerned, but I think as far as the world's concerned.
Thank you, Nick, very much. Thank you. That might be the issue of whether Musk is dangerous for us here, or actually does he just add to this whole, circus that is politics now? It's kind of a spectacle. Thank you, Nick. Thanks so much. Musk's snub has hurt his former ally, Nigel Farage. Musk has said Farage doesn't have what it takes to be reform leader. Is that a fatal blow, or is it a blessing? So call us, 0207 862 2222 is the number. You've got to say, Musk has just... he's almost uncontrollable, because it's not just that he's on Twitter, he is Twitter, he is X. So he's taken it even further this morning. He just put up a poll on X asking if America should liberate the people of Britain from their tyrannical government. And it might be, if you're Farage, you're thinking, we've had a close shave here, because this starts to get...
Leave us alone.
A bit weird. Yeah, no, but he's...
Obsession.
He's obsessed with us, yeah.
Oh,
Do you think he wants to be British?
Do you know what shocks me? He's from South Africa.
Yes.
Which was recently the rape capital of the world. There's robberies in broad daylight. If you want to go and visit South Africa, there's all these warnings that you have to adhere to. I haven't seen him say anything about South Africa. Even in America, school shootings galore, violence.
Because none of it's thought out. There's no deeper meaning behind it. It's a
Oh no, I think there is.
Do you?
I think
he's
there's
just a really rich man that enjoys being the most powerful voice in the world.
Go on quickly.
I think initially he was going to give the donation, but he wanted something in return. So he wants to try and sway the public to reform, so his donation makes sense. But now he's gone a little bit.
Yeah, but why,
obviously, let me just get a call. Judith in Somerset, hi.
Oh, good morning, Jeremy.
What do you think of this absolute circus?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell. I think that because of the how wealthy this man is, he has no right to interfere in our political system. He has no rights. He can have his views, but he hasn't any rights, i.e. withholding the money that he was going to give to Farage.
Well,
we still don't know whether that's going to happen.
Yeah, when you say it's got the right, when you've got as rich as he is, I can't remember how rich he is. Is it 4, 5, 6 billion or something? You've got the right to do almost anything. You can park anywhere, and if they clamp your car, you just buy another one. You've got a lot of extra rights.
Let him do his thing in America, but not intrude into our political system. And the other thing is, I do think that what he's done regarding the child abuse thing, I thank him for that, because we as a country have not, and our politicians have not, they've suppressed how serious this problem is.
Fair point. It's come out of nowhere, that story, a little bit, but thank you for that, Judith. That's important. Ian in South Yorkshire, hi. What do you think? Is this good for Farage or terrible for him?
Terrible, and it's a good thing it's terrible.
It's terrible because he's not going to get his 80 million, that's for sure.
The point is, Elon Musk is a racist. Nigel Farage is a racist.
No, well, I don't know. Let's not
would
be throwing around stuff. It's very, very defamatory of people if it's not true. OK, so you've got to justify it now.
Cannot stand up in British Parliament and defend Tommy Robinson, who is a racist.
Yeah, but what about his chair? Even what about his chair? The current chair of Reform is from Sri Lanka and is a Muslim man. The previous deputy, Ben Habib, is Pakistani. Well, if he was a racist, why would he allow such, to be prominent figures in his party?
For television, love. For people like you to believe.
Oh, well, people like you meaning what?
Yeah, what does that mean? People like me.
For you're gullible. If you
I'm
see
colourful.
somebody of colour in a party,
Gullible.
they can't be racist.
All right, Ian, thank you. I think before we spread it all around like that, we need to be a little bit factual. I'm not sure on where the Musk thing. Well, I don't know. I still haven't quite got my identikit picture of Musk in my head yet. We're learning stuff all the time. Veronica in Hertfordshire, hi.
Hello, nice to see you and the
you.
panel.
And you. So this is a really weird story. What do you make of it?
Well, I think it's an absolute git, and I wish he'd get out of English politics. He's got nothing to do with us. Just because he's a billionaire, he should just butt out and go away.
Well, he thinks there's this. Yeah, but sometimes I'm taking the other side here. Okay, sometimes it helps to have interested friends. Maybe in other countries, they're not directly connected, but they say something's going wrong in Britain, and I can tell you what it is. And his thing is we are now policing free speech as if people shouting at each other is a crime.
No, but that's fair enough. But, he has nothing to do with our country. And I just think, just because he's a billionaire, he thinks he can take over everything. And it's just ridiculous. Just go away and leave us alone. We're doing perfectly well on our own. And I think that Nigel Farage was very good to stand up to him, actually. He's got some principles. I wouldn't actually vote for him, but good for him. Great. He doesn't need his ruddy money. Who wants that contaminated money coming to our lovely country? No, thank you.
Well, a lot of it's been making electric cars, Veronica. So what do you think of that? So this might help Farage.
What, this helps Farage?
Yes, that's what Veronica says. Because Farage is able to say, OK, I know he's offering me 80 million, but I'm not going to accept it because I've got principles.
Yeah, look, in the short term, I think it probably helps him. I think absolutely, but long term, look, if Nigel Farage is serious about being a politician and if he's serious about getting into Parliament, then these are the conversations and the decisions that he needs to start making, and he needs to be very, very vocal and very, very definite about how he feels about things like Elon Musk and Tommy Robinson. He needs to be really, really thorough.
It will attract the moderates.
Exactly, because if we need grown-ups in government, we need grown-ups in power, and if Nigel Farage is serious, then he has to take a stand, I'm afraid.
OK, let's move on. Thank you for your calls. Later we'll be asking if it's OK.